client and texter. I'm a licensed DEI trainer and consultant, which really means I talk about emotions and I help you understand how your emotions are working for you. I'm starting a process. I'm starting a YouTube season about shame and what it is, what it makes us do, how we can work with it, what it makes us not do, and all the things that it can censor us from doing. Shame is such an important emotion, but it's also one of those emotions that we push into the shadows and under the rug and repress so that we don't have to deal with it. And the thing about shame is that the more that you do work with it, the more that you're able to listen to it when it is quiet and nudging you and saying, that didn't feel right. Or that interaction went strangely. Did I do something wrong? Or, gee, this sleeve that I'm working on looks funky. Maybe I should count my stitches. So when you're willing to question yourself, not with a lack of confidence, but in the sense of recognizing that you may not have all the information or that you may have made a mistake, then these experiences can turn into learning experiences rather than experiences that cause you to feel more shame. One of the special things about working with your shame is it can be very uncomfortable, physically uncomfortable. But when you do work with it, when you do admit to doing that thing that was wrong, then because of that discomfort that you go through, on the other side of it, you're very unlikely to repeat that behavior when you really allow yourself to feel your shame. This goes for all the emotions. Because they can be so uncomfortable, you really don't want to experience them again, so you're not going to repeat that behavior. It's pretty brilliant, really. Shame is one of those emotions I really experienced the full spectrum of. When I was a teenager, I felt I was on both sides of the spectrum, in the sense that in certain areas I had no shame, and in certain areas I was completely stuck and felt frozen with shame and in my inability to do things differently or to feel satisfied with what I was doing. Now, growing up, I did gymnastics for years, and I had multiple coaches, most of whom used shame as a way to get better performances from their, not students, from their athletes. And for years after I quit doing gymnastics, I quit when I was 13. For years, I still heard my coaches telling me that whatever I was doing was never good enough. And the thing about gymnastics is that you're striving for this so-called perfection, right? The perfect 10, although apparently that doesn't even exist anymore in gymnastics coaching or gymnastics judging. So essentially, I was being taught to strive for something that was impossible. So I felt like I was never good enough. Like I could never achieve my goal no matter how hard I tried. And yet I was still willing to try. Man, teaching kids this way, sure, it's easy. It's like the default easy way to do it, but it's not ethical. It doesn't work. It's not right. It's not fair. As Dariush says in my upcoming chat with him, when you can work with your shame, then you feel more self-acceptance and freedom. You're not chained down by these unrealistic expectations. and and you're not afraid of being wrong, because it's actually just information. There is no weight to that information in the sense of it's not good or bad. It's just information. It doesn't mean that you are a good or bad person because you got it right or wrong. It's just information. So I hope that you come along with me on my journey through the exploration of shame, of shoulds, of contracts, of burning contracts, of self-acceptance, and who knows where this will take us. But shame is an essential emotion. We all have it. We can't escape it. And learning to work with it makes so much more sense than running away from it and living under a rock. Sometimes a literal rock, sometimes a figurative, heavy rock of all those shoulds we're trying to maintain and uphold, and which lead to feeling frozen and stuck. So hopefully, as we talk about shame, as we look over the gifts of shame, the practices for shame, the questions for shame, the flow of shame, there's even a shame flow chart. Thank you, DEI. We'll have a chance, perhaps you will have a chance to reconsider your relationship with shame. Anyway, I hope you join me. Thanks.